sometimes we have to play with two beaters. So how do we approach the head? Okay. If you learn the traditional grip, you approach the tremolo here. If you're match grip, you approach it here. So, tremolo. Combination of. Now these beaters are too hard for this head, but I came so I could play on the music stand. All right. This gentleman, Walt Moore, asked me the question. He says, "Where does the bass drum belong in a band ensemble?" Now I can't do what I want to do with this bass drum because right now the thongs on each side of the bass drum are very tired. So when I hit it, it's going to hit the metal frame. Hear it down there, like it has pumpkin seeds in it. Now, if you were sitting there in the clarinet section, you would feel me like, oh, is that cool? There's the beat right under my chair. Not out here at the windows or the drapes on stage or wherever. I caught a band concert where the guy had the bass drum way over here. And the band, I thought, how can the band do anything? They can't hear the bass drum. They couldn't feel the bass drum. And when the bass drummer decided to play, it was like a bass drum concerto with band accompaniment. Bass drum doesn't belong over there. It's a directional instrument. Think about it. The triangle is a directional instrument. Cymbals are a directional instrument. Where do you put your flutes? Where do you put your clarinets? Where do you put your trombones? Where do you put your trumpets? Remember Al Reed did a whole study about conical bar, cylindrical bar, bore, where this belongs within a band. And then he wrote and he would set up his band that way. Oh, the difference in the world. I know sometimes we don't have that latitude. If we can get the bass drum in this position, that works right with the band. And I can control it very easily. So when it comes time to do a tremolo, heaven forbid these beaters, got it? Very easy to do, just like playing timpani. Just like playing suspended cymbal. The young lady the other night, she was doing a march, and she had the bass drum going here. She had the cymbal turned upside down here, and she was playing. I went, oh, sweetheart, you know exactly what it's all about. I've heard service bands myrtleize the bass drum and the bands playing. One of the finest bands I heard was 2 or 3 years ago when the band came from Australia and performed at the Midwest Convention. Oh, these kids played, phrased, and they moved, and everybody is the same way. It was awesome. Why do we want to stick our wind players and percussion players in the box and say, you can't get out? You can't get out. This is what you got to do. And the band becomes very sterile in sound. Bass drum's part of this. Cymbals are part of that. We're still patty caking with cymbals or squashing like walruses instead of pulling the sound out. Ever watch the symphony players do it? They're awesome. These kids were doing this from Australia. Why should this band from Australia know this and our bands in America don't play that way? What were they watching? How did they learn? This is hard to teach in a book. It's got to be done one-on-one in workshops. consider these things. Near center, midway, near edge. Think of left hand dampening. Think of right knee dampening. Now this bass drum doesn't allow me to do it because of the way it's constructed. Its carrier is not good. Sometimes the old wooden cradle is better than nothing. I remember the old metal cradlers because I could get my leg up in there and be ready to go. So in order to play with any knee dampening, I got to get up here. If this is directional instrument, I got to have this left hand over here. I govern the rest of the dampening over here, and then my knee here, depending upon the composition. This is supposed to be a bass drum. It sounds like a tenor drum. It's pitched so high. It's not a bass drum anymore. It's a castrati bass drum. We have to think about that. Jeff, where are you? He's not here. I had the opportunity working with the Henderson High School Band a year and a half ago at the TMEA convention. I don't know if one of you were there or not at that time. And we got ready to play, and I hit the bass drum and it said, "Stop. Stop." He's ready to conduct the band. I said, "We got to change the pitch of this bass drum. We got to retune it." Okay, if you know Jeff. Very accommodating. I can't do it because of the stand. The only way I can adjust that bass drum besides the T-handles is either to dance on it or sit on it or knee it to stretch that head so it'll conform to the shell of the bass drum. It's plastic. Plastic does not want to move. It's a man-made material. God had nothing to do with this. Think of your arms. If you didn't have that skin there and this was all plastic, you wouldn't be able to do this. You couldn't bend it. It would just be. Same with your heels, your knees, everything. It moves. Skin heads move. How many bass drums do you know of use skin heads today? Yeah, a professional group does because that's the warm sound they're looking for. Unless they're traveling, then they all use a plastic head. They've learned to do that. But they select the heads that they want to use because they come in different weights. And some are double, some are single, and there's even a triple ply head. And you choose the head to go. You choose a bass clarinet reed to go on a bass clarinet, not on a soprano clarinet. Same way with trumpet mouthpieces. You select to the instrument, the bore of the instrument, the color you're looking for. And you go from there. So I can't demonstrate what I was going to do because I can't lay that bass drum on the floor. And when I did this, the audience went, because they saw me get up on the bass drum and dance and do my thing. Did I do that at Colorado? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. You had a question. So the calf skin is the ideal, but fiber skin would be a second choice? The new skin. The new skin. New skin over the fiber skin. Right. And there's 3 levels of fiber skin. Fiber skin 1, fiber skin 2, fiber skin 3. Then there's the Renaissance head. Renaissance? And that's a different makeup altogether. And that's become very popular. But the ones that the symphonies like to use with their symphonic organizations, Remo does what they call new skin. N-U-S-K-Y-N. And I was supposed to have some catalogs here today to pass out so you had some reference to it. You've got to know where you can find the materials. There are a lot of manufacturers out there, and it's getting more competitive all the time. But if you understand that, it's great. Oh, my goodness sake. You want to put me to the test, right?
Oh, no, I just...
Oh, sure you do. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo. All right. All right. All right. Oh, that's my do-do-do-do-do. This is always a little precarious because there could be a defect in the head, you know. But you got to stretch that head. You put a new reed on the mouthpiece, do you just play it? You usually take it and honk, 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 honk. You break the reed into the mouthpiece to the lay of the mouthpiece, don't you? Don't you? Thank you. Same way here. All right? So when I get through tuning all these T-handles opposite one another so it's a unison in tune, I got to stretch the head and then bring it back up. If I don't do it, because it's plastic, it won't move. So I'll get a false tone. Because that head is just kind of riding over the rim. It's not down on the rim. And that's what calf will do. It's there. Just like the skin on your arm. It's there. Bingo. But it doesn't want to move. All right, so what do you have to do if you need to do it? You get the hair dryer out. And you go around, make sure you don't scorch the head or get it too hot or too close to the head. And you warm up the head so you can move that plastic vellum and move it around the head. Now, I don't expect you to do this unless you're very careful. And then when you do it, and you want to impress your drummers and everybody else, you do it and they go, ooh. And all of a sudden you hooked them. Frank Arsenault was a big man. He wouldn't stand. He would sit and do this. Okay. Others would do the knee end technique. And others would stand up like I did. Now, once I get that head down, that's a bonus. Okay. Oh, there's a piece of wire in there. That's something new. Okay. Oh, of course. Of course. Of course. There is one composition, I'm sure you're aware of it, came out about 5-7 years ago, calls for a small bass drum to be played like maracas, and you put marbles on the inside. You go shuk, 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 shuk. And is that fun, huh? Thank you, sir. Thank you. All this neat stuff. Okay, what interval is that? Is that a fourth? Third? Okay, is that a good interval? Most bass drummers like to tune the interval of a fourth between the beating head and the receiving head. Then, thanks to what Gary just did for me, you decide which side of the head you want to play on. The low-pitched side or the high-pitched side. It depends upon, are you playing the bass drum in horizontal position? Are you playing it in vertical position? Are you playing it in slant position? Then you begin to manipulate that head with your left hand or your right hand, your right knee. I can't do it with the left knee. Don't need to, I got my left hand. Bass drummers have to be bass drummers, right hand, no left hand bass drummers. Because the bass drum sound is supposed to go over here to the tuba player or the snare drummer. In the old days, it was the snare drummer, and the tuba player was kind of here. The snare drummer over here now has got to be next to the trumpets. The cymbal player's got to be next to the bass drum, not out there on the left field somewhere trying to coordinate bass drum and cymbals together. It doesn't work. And while we're on cymbals, same as bass drum. One pair of cymbals will not work for all musical performances. And if that's all you've got to find a way to make it work musically with the composition you're performing.